Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's time. The Solheim Cup, the golf event everyone has all been waiting for. It is not just any huge event, to be honest. It's war. It's Europe versus the United States, pride on the line, with some of the fiercest female competitors on the planet going head-to-head. And when the pressure's on and the stakes are high, well, let's just say things get intense. From questionable calls to heated exchanges, from tears on the green to celebrations gone wild, the Solheim Cup has seen it all. But what really happens when the cameras stop rolling? What are the juiciest scandals that have rocked this prestigious tournament to its core? We're about to dive into the most controversial moments in Solheim Cup history. Trust me, by the end of this, you'll never look at women's golf the same way again. Let's start off with number 8. It's the year 2000, Loch Lomond, Scotland. Annika Sorenstam is about to make a chip shot that'll go down in history. Not because it was particularly brilliant, no. This shot was special for a whole other reason. Sorenstam lines up, takes her swing, and plop, the ball drops right into the hole. A perfect chip. The crowd goes wild. Sorenstam's pumped. Her partner, Janice Moody, is over the moon. It's a beautiful moment. But wait, what's this? The American team is huddling. They're whispering. And suddenly, out comes Kelly Robbins, pointing an accusing finger. "She played out of turn," she cries. Now, let me tell you guys, in golf, playing out of turn is a real scandal. But to call someone out on it after they've already made the shot? That's cold. So the officials gather, and then the verdict. Sorenstam has to replay the shot. Sorenstam tries to keep it together, but you can see it in her eyes. She's rattled. She takes the shot again, and it doesn't go in. Europe loses the hole, and later, the match. This incident set the tone for years to come. It was like opening Pandora's box of golf drama, and boy, did those controversies come flying out. Here we are at number 7 of the list. Now, this one's a doozy. It wasn't even during the tournament. This controversy kicked off before a single ball was hit. Enter Katrin Nilsmark, a Swedish player with a sharp mouth. She wasn't even playing in the 2002 Solheim Cup, but she did make her presence felt. You see, back then, Nilsmark was sitting at home when she decided to spice things up a bit. She hops onto a Swedish website and starts ripping into the American players. She calls Christy Kerr a little brat. Ouch. But she's just getting warmed up. Then she takes aim at Michelle Redman, saying she has absolutely no talent. The LPGA decided the best way to handle this was to post a translation on their website and distribute copies through the ladies' locker room. A perfect idea to warm up before the game. You can imagine the scene in that locker room. U.S. Captain Patty Sheehan, trying to be the adult in the room, said most of the European players had come up to her and apologized. "I know they feel bad about the comments," she said. Yeah, I bet they did. If it was me, I'd be plotting my revenge on the 18th green. And you know what? Maybe that's exactly what the American team did. Because guess what happened next? They came from behind and won 7 singles matches, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. Now, I'm not saying Nilsmark's trash talk was the reason the U.S. team won, but let's be honest, nothing motivates quite like proving your haters wrong. The thing is, the Solheim Cup sure does make things interesting, and the early 2000s were intense. Next up, at number 6, let's jump to 2003. We're in Sweden now, at the Barsbäck Golf and Country Club. The tournament's been intense, emotions are running high, and Europe's on the verge of victory. Now, usually when one team wins, the remaining matches play out. It's a matter of respect, sportsmanship, all of that. But apparently, someone forgot to mention this to the Europeans. Why? Well, back then, Katrina Matthews just defeated Rosie Jones on the 17th hole. Europe won the cup. Great moment, right? Time for handshakes, maybe a few tears of joy. But what happens next is not that. 3 of the 5 remaining matches are suddenly conceded. U.S. Captain Patty Sheehan, yep, her again, was shocked. "I've never seen that before," she said. "Usually they sort of play out, and if they get to 18, then they can concede there. But nope, not this time." Beth Daniel was in the middle of a comeback. She'd just won 2 holes in a row. Christy Kerr was about to go a couple up, and then nothing. Game over. Thanks for coming. Don't forget to tip your caddy on the way out. This rare ending gave Europe the largest victory in Solheim Cup history at that point, 17.5 to 10.5. Now, you might be thinking that things can't get any weirder than that, right? Oh, we're just getting warmed up. At number 5 on our list of the most controversial moments in Solheim Cup history, we fast forward to 2007. We're in Sweden again. What is it about Sweden and the Solheim Cup problems? Well, anyway, everything's going smoothly this time. The matches are tight, the play is excellent, and then there is Dottie Pepper. She was doing commentary for the broadcast, and maybe that was the issue. It was Saturday afternoon. The matches are heating up. The US team keeps getting to the last 2 holes with a lead, only to walk away with just half a point. Frustrating, right? Well, Dottie thought so too. And she decided to share her thoughts when she thought her mic was off. But it wasn't. So what did Dottie say that was so bad? Oh, nothing much. She just called the US players chokin' freakin' dogs. On air. For everyone to hear. Not exactly the refined commentary you expect from golf, is it? The reaction was, well, let's just say it wasn't pretty. Even Tiger Woods, who was playing in the FedEx Cup Tour Championship, weighed in, saying he didn't think Pepper would get a lot of interviews from the players. Pepper tried to fix what she had done. She sent an email to Golf Week saying she was reacting as one who bleeds red, white, and blue, and a former Solheim Cupper who has gagged a few points away herself in the past. But the USA wasn't convinced, and they ended up winning 16-12. Maybe they were motivated by the desire to prove they weren't, in fact, chokin' freakin' dogs. However, the damage was done. Pepper served as an assistant captain in 2013, but hasn't been involved with the US team since. The lesson here? Always check your mic. It's a lesson Dottie Pepper learned the hard way, and one that added another chapter to the book of Solheim Cup controversies. But now, the 2010s are coming, and with them, some of the juiciest controversies yet. Halfway through our list, we're at number 4. It's 2013 Colorado Friday afternoon, and the first 4-ball match is underway. Everything's going as usual until we reach the 15th hole, and that's when all hell breaks loose. Carlotta Ciganda, playing for Europe, hits her ball into a hazard. No big deal, right? Happens all the time. Just take a drop and move on. Oh, if only it were that simple. What follows is 25 minutes. Yes, you heard that right, 25 minutes, of officials huddling, discussing, and probably drawing diagrams in the sand, all to figure out where Ciganda should drop her ball. Now, 25 minutes might not seem like a long time in the grand scheme of things, but on a golf course, it's an eternity. You could probably play 3 holes in that time. Heck, you could probably go grab a hot dog, use the restroom, and still make it back in time for the ruling. Finally, after what feels like a geological age, they make a decision. Ciganda gets to drop her ball 40 yards away from where it went in. Now, for those of you who aren't golf rules experts, that's unusual, to say the least. Usually you drop within 2 club lengths of where the ball entered the hazard. 40 yards? That's practically a different hole. The Americans are not happy. Stacey Lewis is seen throwing her hands up in disgust. She probably would have thrown her club too if it wouldn't have gotten her disqualified. After all the discussion and the waiting, the LPGA later admitted they got it wrong. Yep, all that time, and they still messed it up. But wait, this gets better, because apparently 1 controversy per day just isn't enough for the Solheim Cup. Sliding into the top 3, here's number 3. The very next day, on the 7th hole, we get to see another craziness. This time, it's Annika Sorenstam in the hot seat. This time, she's an assistant captain, but somehow she manages to stir things up a bit. Here's what went down. A European caddy tells Paula that her par putt is good. No problem, right? Except the caddy says he's acting on Sorenstam's words. And that is a big no. Only captains are allowed to give advice per the captain's agreement. Creamer understandably gets upset. She starts arguing with her opponents, with the officials, probably with the grass if it would listen. And after another eternity of discussion, the USGA finally rules that Sorenstam didn't breach any rules. Crisis averted, right? Wrong. Because later that evening we get yet another 30-minute ruling on the 16th hole. At this point, the Golf Channel starts showing close-ups of the moon. I kid you not, that was the 2013 Solheim Cup, where the rulings took longer than the actual golf. But get ready, because we're about to dive into what might be the most heated, controversial moment in Solheim Cup history. A moment so shocking and divisive, it makes all these other incidents look like a polite disagreement over the proper way to mark a ball. Coming in at number 2. Let's set the scene. It's 2015, we're in Germany. Suzanne Pettersen is about to ignite a firestorm that'll be talked about for years to come. Now, they're playing the 4 balls. Pedersen and Charlie Hull are playing against Allison Lee and Brittany Lincecum. They're on the 17th green. The match is all square. The tension is thick. Lee misses a putt for birdie. It was no big deal. She'll just tap in for par. Except she doesn't. Because she thinks the putt has been conceded. She picks up her ball, ready to head to the 18th tee. But wait. Pedersen pipes up saying they hadn't conceded the putt. Cue the gasps, the wide eyes, and the sudden realization that things are about to get real messy. The result? Europe wins the hole. Lee and Hull are in tears. The American team is furious, and golf fans around the world are picking their jaws up off the floor. And is here where it gets even juicier? This controversy lit a fire under the American team. They went into the final day trailing by 4 points, but fueled by a sense of injustice and a burning desire for revenge, Team USA pulled off the greatest comeback in Solheim Cup history. They stormed back on Sunday, winning 8.5 points in the singles matches. Just when you thought things couldn't get any more dramatic, along comes 2021 to show us that things can always go beyond the limits. Before we reveal the final and most controversial incident on our list, we would like to ask you to subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video so far. Your support on our journey to 10K subscribers means the world to us. Now get ready for our top spot on the list. Number 1. It was Saturday afternoon at the Inverness Club in Toledo, Ohio. The match between Nelly Korda and Ali Ewing of Team USA and Europe's Nana Kirsts Madsen and Madeline Sagström is coming down to the wire. They're on the par 5 13th hole, and Korda's got a long eagle putt. Now, here's where things get interesting. Korda's putt doesn't quite make it to the hole. It stops right on the edge, hanging there like it's teasing everyone. You know those moments where time seems to stand still? This was one of those. Sagström, probably thinking she was doing everyone a favor, walks over and picks up the ball, tossing it back to Korda. Big mistake. Why? There are rules. If any part of the ball is overhanging the lip of the hole, you get a reasonable amount of time to get to the hole, plus an additional 10 seconds to see if the ball falls in. Well, Sagström didn't give the ball that chance, and that's when all hell broke loose. The rules official steps in and says, by picking it up early, you've essentially conceded an eagle to Korda. Cue the collective gasp from everyone watching. Sagström was devastated. She argued that the ball wasn't going to drop, that it was clearly at rest, but the officials stood firm. Korda and Ewing were given the eagle, putting them ahead by 1 shot, and they never lost that lead. But these moments, these stories, they're what make the Solheim Cup more than just a golf tournament. And the best part? We never know what's going to happen next. As we look forward to the 2024 Solheim Cup, who knows what controversies await us? One thing we can say for sure, it won't be boring.